Hello, everyone, and welcome to our virtual Mishnah Berurah share. This is actually the second time today that I'm saying this share. For some reason, the first time I tried to record this, I went and I checked it after it was uploaded, and I discovered, much to my chagrin, that there was absolutely no sound. So it was a beautiful picture of lips moving, but no sound. So here we go again. We're holding in Mishnah Berurah Chelik Hey. We're on Pei Daled Amud Beis. We're continuing with Hilchos Pesach. We're in Siman Taf Ayin Gimel, and we pick up today at Siv Zayin. So it's on Pei Daled Amud Beis, and in my Mishnah Berurah, it is 5 lines off the bottom of the Shulchan Aruch on Pei Daled Amud Beis. Says the Mechaber in Siv Zayin, Moizgin loy miyad kais sheni. When we left off yesterday, we had spoken about saying halach ma'anya, and now the Mechaber is saying right after halach ma'anya, we removed the ka'ara from the table. The Mechaber said in Sivav that we took the ka'ara and either we sent it to the other side of the table, or if it was a small table, we removed the ka'ara with the matzah on it completely. And now the Shulchan Aruch says, Moizgin loy miyad kais sheni. We then immediately pour the second kais of the Dalet kaisos. Now, why do we pour the kais now? Says the Shulchan Aruch, Kedei sheyishalu al tinoikos lama shaisim kais sheni kaidim suda. When the children see that we're pouring a second kais, they're going to ask, whoa, a second kais? We made Kiddush already. Usually Friday night, Yom Tov night, we make Kiddush, we drink wine, and then we get ready for the Suda. Now we made Kiddush, we drank one kais, now we're already pouring another kais? What's going on? So that's going to pique the curiosity of the children, and it's going to make them start to ask questions. Let's take a look in the Mishnah Berurah and Eis Katan Samav Zayin. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Miyad. The Mechaber said that we immediately pour the second kais. Says the Chavetz Chaim, Ritzaynai Loimar. What the Shulchan Aruch wants to say when he says that we pour the second kais miyad immediately, he means shelo yamtin b'mezikas hakais ad sheyagia lelefikach she'oz tzarich le'echais hakais b'yodai. We're going to drink the second kais after most of Magid. We're going to come to the paragraph of lefikach anachnu chayavim lahaydais lahalel, and then we're going to say the beginning of Halil, and then we're going to make the bracha of Gal Yisrael, and then after that, that's finally when we're going to drink, make our guffen, and drink the second kais, right? So now the Shulchan Aruch is telling you we're not going to wait to pour the second kais until we get up to lefikach, which is the point at which we have to actually hold the kais in preparation of making the hagafen and drinking it. No, instead we pour the kais right now before Manishtana, right after halach ma'anya. Immediately after removing the ka'ara from the table after halach ma'anya, before Manishtana, moizeg, that's when we pour the kais. Eis Katan Samach Ches, kais sheni, we pour the second kais. Ve'ein tzarich shtifa v'hadacha. Normally, when we prepare a kais for a kaishal bracha, we need shtifa v'hadacha. We need to wash the kais outside and inside. However, over here, the Chavetz Chaim tells you, in preparation of the second kais, we do not require shtifa v'hadacha, shekvar shtafai lakidush, because we did shtifa v'hadacha to prepare the kais for kiddush, and now we're using that kais. We don't have to do shtifa v'hadacha again. Okay. Eis Katan Samach Tes, Kedei Yishalu. We pour the second kais now so that the Tinoikos should ask questions. Ritzaynai Loimar, what the Mechaber wants to say is, Val Yedei Zeh Yisayr Lishal Yesar She'eloisu Tamios Sharaya Balayla Hahu. When we pour the kais and the child is going to see that we're already preparing a second kais to drink and we haven't even started the Suda, that's going to pique his curiosity, and now he's going to start to observe other strange things that we're doing tonight. He's going to look and he's going to say the matzah and the dunking of the karpas and the haseba. So now he's going to start to ask all of the questions. Now we go weiter in the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch continues and he says, let's say the son doesn't ask any questions. Let's say the son is not particularly observant, or he doesn't have the smarts to recognize that anything is strange here. So the son doesn't ask any questions. Aviv malamdai. Then his father should instruct him. his father should point out to him the shinuyim, the strange things that we're doing tonight, and the father should point out, don't you find this strange? Wouldn't you like to know why we do all of these interesting things? Imein loy bain, if he does not have a son to ask him, ishtoi shayaltoi, then his wife should ask him. V'em lav, if he doesn't have anybody to ask him, hu shayalas atzmai, then he should have a question and answer period with himself. Va'afilu tamidei chachamim, even tamidei chachamim that are sitting together and having a seder, shayalim zeh lo zeh ma nishtana v'chuloi. They should ask each other the ma nishtana. The point over here is that we want the Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, the reading of the Haggadah and the telling over the Nisim of Yetzias Mitzrayim are supposed to be done in a question and answer format. That's the way the Chazal laid it out. Perhaps one reason is because when somebody asks a question, he has a question, he's interested in hearing the answer. Now he asked a question, he's not removed from the process, as opposed to where you have somebody who's talking and somebody who's listening. So then, okay, the listener is very passive. He's not involved in the process. If his curiosity is not so aroused, he may wander off. He might drift off. He's not necessarily paying attention. But when he's part of the process, when he's asking a question and seeking an answer, then he pays attention. The Ramah says over here, when the son or the wife are doing the asking of the manishtana, ein tzarich loymar manishtana. The Balabayas, the one who's actually leading the Seder, is not required to recite the Manishtana. Manishtana is not a requirement that everybody has to say Manishtana. The point is somebody has to do the asking. But if there is somebody who's doing the asking, then the one who's going to do the answering doesn't have to read the question. Rather, he could start the recitation of the Haggadah by Avodim Hayinu. Says the Mishnah Berurah, in Eis Katan Ayin, Ukishabein Isha Sheyeles, if a son or a wife are doing the asking of the Manishtana, the same halacha would apply if you have two Tamidei Chachamim and one is asking the Manishtana to his friend. Hanishal, the one who is being asked, he's not required to recite and to read Manishtana. Now we go to the bottom line on Peidalin Amud Beis in the Shulchan Aruch, where the Mechaber continues. When the leader of the Seder, the one who's reading the Haggadah, when he begins and he says, Avodim hayinu leparoi b'Mitzrayim, machzer ha'ka'ara shaba hamatzos lefanav, we return the ka'ara to the table. Remember, we had removed the ka'ara from the table after halach ma'anya, before manishtana. Now, after manishtana, we bring the ka'ara back and we have the matzos exposed in front of the leader of the Seder, v'kairei kol ha'Haggadah, and now we read the entire Haggadah. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut ayin aleph on the bottom line of the Mishnah Berurah, v'kairei kol ha'Haggadah. We read the entire Haggadah. Ve'ein loymar ba'aseba. Chavetz Chaim points out over here that unlike many of the mitzvahs that we do by the Seder, for instance, the eating of the matzah, the drinking of the four kaisais, which we do b'haseba, we lean derech cherus, the reading of the Haggadah, which is also one of the mitzvahs halayla, it's the mitzvah of Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, we do not do that b'haseba. Rather we do it be'ema v'yira. We do it with dread and fear. We do it with great reverence, the reading of the Haggadah. And he brings this down from the Shla. And we have to realize that when we read the Haggadah, it'll be very instructive to look at the Sefer HaChinuch on the mitzvah of Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, where the Sefer HaChinuch writes in great detail the great lessons of Emunah and B'tachon, the Ikrei Emunah, the main points of our Emunah, which is our guiding principles, the guiding principles of every Yid, has to be his Emunah and his B'tachon. Basic Emunah Pshuta, basic belief in the Rabbeinu Shalom, that the Rabbeinu Shalom is the Kol Yachol, that the Rabbeinu Shalom is the one who created everything, that the Rabbeinu Shalom created everything and controls everything. Who Bayrei Umanig, the Rabbeinu Shalom is the creator, but not only the creator, also the Manig, the one who's controlling the entire Bria every second, every day. Umanig l'chala biruim. The Rabbeinu Shalom is the one who controls everything that's being created all of the time. Nothing happens in this world without a direct hanhaga from the Rabbeinu Shalom. The Ribbono Shel Olam is making everything happen. And the Ribbono Shel Olam is the Kol Yachal, and the Ribbono Shel Olam is the one who can change the Sidrei HaTeva. The Ribbono Shel Olam could totally change the operation of the world from one moment to the next, like he did in Mitzrayim. The Ribbono Shel Olam turned water into dam. So the Ribbono Shel Olam could change anything. And the Ribbono Shel Olam loves us, and he's taking care of us every moment. These are the Ikrei Amuna Pshuta that every Yid has to have. These are the lessons that we're supposed to gain from reading the Haggadah. So the Haggadah is not read leaning back, Ba'aseba, taking it easy, Derech Eretz. The Haggadah should be read with great reverence. There are many, many, many Iker lessons that we have here in the Haggadah. Now the Chavetz Chaim continues on the second line in the Mishnah Berurah, Pei Hey Amud Aleph. Kishayoymar v'nemar lefanav shira. This is in the paragraph in the Haggadah of Lefikach. We just finished reading all about the Nisim of Yetzias Mitzrayim, and then we say in the Haggadah, this is the point at which we pick up the second kais, and we say Lefikach. Therefore, since we have all of these Nisim that the Ribbono Shel Olam did for us, Anachnu Chayavim, we are obligated Lahaidos, to thank, and lahalel, and to praise. L'shabeach is another language of praise. L'fair, to glorify. L'raimem, to exalt. Lahader, to honor or to beautify. L'varech, to bless. La'ale, to write, to, what's the word I'm looking for? La'ale. There's a word that's escaping me. I could use another word, la'ale, to acclaim, or la'kales. All of these are different languages of praise. L'misha asa la'aveseinu v'lanu, to Hashem who did for our forefathers and for us, as kala nisim ha'elu, all of these nisim. Ha'itzianu mi'avdus l'cheris, so he took us out from slavery to freedom, miyaga and l'simcha, from grief to simcha, to joy, ume'evel, from mourning, liyam tov, to festivity, ume'afela, from darkness of servitude, la'argadol, to great light of freedom, umishibud, and from slavery, l'geula, to redemption. And then we say, v'nemar lefanav shira chadasha hallelujah. Now, in most of our Haggadahs, the girsa is v'noimar. V'noimar is more of a lashon haiva or a lashon asid, present tense or maybe future tense. Then Neymar, we will say lefanav, before you, shira chadasha, a new song, hallelujah, praised is Hashem. That's the nusach that we have in most of our Haggadahs. The Chavetz Chaim says over here, kisheyoymar v'noymar lefanav shira, tzarich loymar v'nemar b'nikud segol. The Chavetz Chaim says that the word should not be v'noymar, and we will say. It should be v'nemar, and we did say in past tense. V'nemar, shu lashon avar. We should use the past tense. The koi al geulas Mitzrayim, because the Chavetz Chaim says that this is referring not to what we're going to do now, not that we're going to praise the Ribbono Shel Olam now, but this line refers to the praise that we gave to the Ribbono Shel Olam at the Geulas Mitzrayim. So then what this paragraph would be saying is, we are obligated to praise the Ribbono Shel Olam now. Why? Because he did all of these nisim for us. V'nemar lefanav shira chadasha, and we sang to the Ribbono Shel Olam at that time, by the time of Geulas Mitzrayim, shira chadasha, a new shira, hallelujah, praised is Hashem. That's what the Chavetz Chaim says. Now, while this is primarily a Mishnah Berurah here, still, since I think most of our contemporary Haggadahs have the nusach of v'noimar, again in the future tense or the present tense, not in the past tense, I want to be matzdik justify the nusach that most of us have and probably most of us say. So the truth is that in Reb David Feinstein's Shlitas Haggadah, he writes that indeed we should use the girsa of v'noimar. Why does he say we should say v'noimar? Because the truth is that when we say at the end here, shira chadasha hallelujah, Taisvis says that from the fact that this is written in Lashon Nekeva, shira chadasha, that is always a reference to Hallel, or to Az Yashir perhaps. When we speak about the shira that we're going to sing by the Geula Shlema, we use Lashon Zachar, shir chadash, not shira chadasha. Also, Rav David says that the word hallelujah at the end of this paragraph is a clear reference to Hallel that we're going to begin saying right after this paragraph. We say the Noima Lefanu Shira Chadasha Hallelujah, 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 Avdei Hashem. So we roll right into Hallel. When was Hallel composed? Was Hallel composed at the time of Geulas Mitzrayim? There is a shita that says that yes, that's when it was composed. But most other shitas say that Hallel was composed at a much later time. So if we have the Girsa of Hallelujah, which seems to make reference to Hallel, and we have Shira Chadasha, which is Lashon Nekeva, not Lashon Zachar, those two things together, it would seem that we're talking about the Shira that we're going to sing now. So the Girsa would be V'noimar Lefanov, we will say before you Shira Chadasha, a new Shira, which is a reference to Hallel, Hallelujah, and that's when we start saying Hallel. Okay. Continues the Shulchan Aruch. We go now to the last word in the Shulchan Aruch on Pei Daled Amud Beis. V'kairei kol ha'Haggadah. Now we're going to continue on, and we're going to read the whole Haggadah. Ukishiyagia. One second here. I read that already. Okay, we said v'kairei kol ha'Haggadah, and now says the Mechaber Ukishiyagia l'matzazu. When we get up to the paragraph in the Haggadah, when we say matzazu sha'anu oichlam al shumma, we say there are three things that you must mention by the Seder or you're not yotze the mitzvah. One is matzazu, we have to speak about the matzah. Pesachzu, we have to speak about the korban Pesach. And morarzeh, we have to speak about the morah. So the Shulchan Aruch says, Kishiyagia lematzazu. When we get up to the paragraph, matzazu sha'anu oichlam al shumma, this matzah that we eat, why are we eating it? Tzarich lahagbia, you have to lift up the matzah, laharoisa lamesubin, to show it to those who are sitting around the table, shetechavev hamitzvah aleim, to make the mitzvah of achilas matzah more beloved to them. So we take the matzah in our hand and we lift it up and we say, matzazu, this precious matzah, this matzah shal mitzvah, sha'anu oichlim, that we eat by the Seder, al shumma, why are we eating it? Says the Ramah, v'yesh lahagbia matzah haprusa. When we lift up the matzah by matzazu, which matzah should we lift up? We should lift up specifically the broken piece of the middle matzah. Shehi kalechem oini. That's the lechem oini. That's the lechem she'einin olav dvarim harbe. That's the lechem oini that we read the Haggadah over. Lechem she'einin olav dvarim harbe. The lechem over which we recite the many words of the Haggadah. So that's primarily the matzah that we're talking about. So that's what we should lift up. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cotton iron base. Oh, no, we didn't do that yet. Let's go further in the Shulchan Aruch. Second line. V'chein, similarly, kishiyagia l'morarzeh. When we read the paragraph of morarzeh sha'anu oichlim, we should lift up the morah. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cotton iron base. V'chein kishiyagia l'morarzeh, we should lift up the morah. Avol, however, says the Chavetz Chaim, kishiyagia l'pesach shayu aviseinu oichlim. When we get up to the paragraph that discusses the korban Pesach, and we say Pesach shayu aviseinu oichlim, the korban Pesach that our forefathers would eat, al shumma, why do we eat the korban Pesach? Then lo yoichaz biyadai abasar shehu zeicher la Pesach. You should not lift up the roasted zeraya that's on the ka'ara as a remembrance for the korban Pesach. Don't lift that up and say Pesach zu shahayu aviseinu oichlim. No, don't call that the korban Pesach. The heavy kemagbia kachim bachutz, because then it looks like we're referring to that zeraya as the korban Pesach itself. We're not going to make kachim bachutz. The korban Pesach was a korban and had to be brought in the Azara by the Beis Hamikdash. We can't bring it bachutz, so we don't want to get too close to kachim bachutz for comfort. Kachim bachutz is a terrible avera. The nira mizeh shehegdisha la Pesach. It looks like we're being magdish to zraya, like we're sanctifying it as a korban Pesach. We can't do that. Kasav Mordechai, the Mordechai writes, the tzarich loymar v'noichal sham min azvachim umin apsachim. Again, if we go to the paragraph of Lefikach, we pull out the Haggadah over here. That's actually in the bracha of Gal Yisrael. So we say Lefikach, and then we say the first two paragraphs of Hallel, And then right before we drink the second kais, we have the bracha of Gal Yisrael. And in the bracha we say, V'noichal sham, we ask the Rebbeinu Shalom that he should bring the Geula Shlema, and we say V'noichal sham, and over there in the Beis Hamikdash we will eat min hazvachim, from the karbanos, from the sacrifices, min hapsachim, and from the carbon pesach. So the Chavetz Chaim says over here that we have to make sure to say min hazvachim from the karbanos before we say min hapsachim, before we mention the carbon pesach. Why? Explains the Chavetz Chaim that tzarich loymar v'noichal sham min hazvachim and min hapsachim. We should mention zvachim, other karbanos, before we mention the carbon pesach. Why? Because when we have a Beis Hamikdash, it should be built b'me'erev Yameinu. The way the avodah was done on Erev Pesach was first you brought a carbon chagiga and then a carbon pesach, and you ate from the carbon chagiga before you ate from the carbon pesach. Why did you do that? Because the carbon pesach is supposed to be nechal al hasoiva. You have to eat the carbon pesach when you're already somewhat satiated. So first you have a chagiga to eat from, you eat basar kachim from the chagiga, and then you take whatever portion you're getting from the carbon pesach. Remember, the carbon pesach would be eaten in a group, so everybody would get a small portion from the carbon pesach. So your main achila might be from the carbon chagiga, and then you eat from the carbon pesach. So first you say v'noichal sham min hazvachim. Over there in the Beis Hamikdash, first we'll eat from the zvachim, from the carbon chagiga, and then min hapsachim. Aval Pesach nechal al hasoiva. Continues the Shulchan Aruch, continues the Mechaber on the second line, right by the Ois Ayin Gimel for the Mishnah Berurah. Ukishiyagia lefikach, when we get to this paragraph of lefikach, magbia kolechad kaisai biyadai, you should lift up the kais and hold it ad shechaisem gal Yisrael, until you finish the bracha of gal Yisrael. So at the beginning of the paragraph of lefikach, you lift up the kais, you hold the kais for lefikach, you hold the kais for the first two paragraphs of Hallel, then you hold the kais for the bracha of Gal Yisrael, and then finally after Gal Yisrael, you're going to make a very priagafen and drink the second kais. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut 9 Gimel, ukishiyagia lefikach magbia, when you get up to the paragraph of lefikach, you lift up the kais. Ubashla kasav, the Shla writes, when we say the paragraph of Vihisha Amda, which comes before the paragraph of Lefikach, until the end of the paragraph of Vihisha Amda, you should hold the kais then as well. You should cover up the matzahs by Vihisha Amda, because you're going to be holding the kais. And as we're going to see later, whenever you hold the kais of the yayin, you have to cover up the pas. You have to cover up the lechem. Why is that? Because normally when it comes to brachos, we always give kedima, we give preference to bread over wine. Yet there are times like by Kiddush, on Shabbos, on Yom Tov, or over here, where we give preference to the yayin. We have a specific need for the yayin. So we're going to hold the yayin even though the pas is here in front of us. At those times, we cover up the pas. So if you're going to hold the kais by Vihisha Amda, you have to make sure to cover the matzah, to cover the pas. Now, interesting question. Why do we hold the kais by Vihisha Amda? We hold the kais by Lefikach and by Gal Yisrael, that we can understand. First of all, we're saying Hallel, and we say Shira al Hayayin. Also, that's part of the bracha on the Haggadah, and the second kais was Mesukan, the Chazal were Mesakin, to drink the second kais over the Haggadah. Every one of the four kaises we're going to see is linked to a mitzvah. The first kais is linked to Kiddush. The second kais is linked to the Haggadah, to Sipri Yetzias Mitzrayim. The third kais is linked to Birkas Hamazon, to benching. The fourth kais is linked to Hallel. So since the second kais is linked to Sipri Yetzias Mitzrayim, and this bracha of Gal Yisrael is the closing of Yetzias Mitzrayim, so we hold the kais. But why do we hold the kais by Vihisha Amda? One reason I've heard is that Vihisha Amda is also a shira. we're singing praise to the Rabbeinu Shalom for always protecting us throughout the generations. And we sing Shira al Hayayin. Indeed, I think most people probably have the minhag to sing V'hisha Amda. So it's Shira, which is al Hayayin. Another beautiful reason that I saw brought down is that there's a very fascinating Gemara in Shabbos. I think it's in Shabbos on Daf Pei Tes, where the Gemara relates how the Rabbeinu Shalom came to the Avos HaKadoshim, and he told each one of the Avos HaKadoshim that the Klal Yisrael had done Averis, Chatu, they did Averis, and the Rabbeinu Shalom said they're deserving of punishment. He approached Avram Avinu, and Avram Avinu's response was, if they're deserving of punishment, so punish them. Yaakov Avinu's response also was, if Klal Yisrael is deserving of punishment, punish them. Yitzchak Avinu, on the other hand, stood up for us. Yitzchak Avinu made a very fascinating mathematical cheshbon. He told the Rabbeinu Shalom, you're telling me that Klal Yisrael did Averis. How many Averis could they have done? How much time do they have to sleep? How much time do they have to eat? How much time do they have to attend to all of their other physical needs? How much time do they have already? How much time are they davening? How much time are they wearing tefillin? How much time do they have to do Averis? They couldn't have done that many Averis. We'll split the Averis in half. You take half, I'll take half, and we'll call it a day. So Yitzchak Avinu made this bargaining session with the Rabbeinu Shalom, and the Rabbeinu Shalom accepted what he said. He forgave Klal Yisrael, and he did not punish them. Now, it's brought down that the first case is Keneged Avram Avinu, the second case is Keneged Yitzchak Avinu, and the third case is Keneged Yaakov Avinu. Since the second case is Keneged Yitzchak Avinu, and Yitzchak Avinu stood up for us and convinced the Rabbeinu Shalom to spare us, so when we sing V'hisha Amda La'avisenu, that the Rabbeinu Shalom always protected us and always saved us, and it could be that he did that largely in the schus of Yitzchak Avinu and his argument, and therefore we pick up the second case, which is Keneged Yitzchak Avinu, L'chvayid Yitzchak Avinu. Okay. Says the Shulchan Aruch weiter. We go now to the words of the Ramah. Hagah. V'noyagin, we have a custom, lizraik ma'at min ha'kais be'etzbai, to remove some wine from the kais using your finger. Now the etzba is the pointer, and the Mishnah Berurah is going to say that you specifically should use the pointer. Now there's a minute to use the pinky as well. We'll discuss it. So right now the Ramah says, v'noyagin lizraik ma'at min ha'kais be'etzbai, we have a minute to remove some yayin from the kais using your finger. When we refer to the makos and we say dam va'esh v'simrais ashan, that there was blood and fire and pillars of smoke. And also we remove some wine from the kais when we mention the makos, the 10 makos. Both when we mention the namanik of the tzach adash ba'achav, so by each one we remove a little wine, the tzach adash ba'achav, and also befrat when we mention each makkah individually, dam, tzvardeya, kinim, arov. By each one we remove a drop of wine using our finger. Hakoil tes zayin pa'amim. So it comes out that we do this removal of the yayin 16 times. 3 for dam ve'esh v'simras ashan. 3 for the tzach hadash ba'achav, that's 6, and then 10 for each individual makkah for 16. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut $9. Be'etzbai, the minhag is to remove the wine using your pointer. V'hadgin lizraik be'etzba, the minhag is to use the pointer, the etzba, al shem etzba elikimhi, because the Chatumei Mitzrayim told Parai that this is an etzba elikim. These makkos are a finger. It's the finger of the Rabbeinu Shalom. Not like it says in the Sefer Hagas Minhagim, Lizraik Bezeres Katan, to use the pinky. Many people do have the minhag to use the pinky. Indeed, my father Shalom's minhag was to use the pinky. But over here, at least Chavetz Chaim writes that you should use the etzba. Ois kat nayin hey, sheish esrei pa'amim, 16 times. Keneged oisi ois yud vav. This is keneged the yud and the vav. Mishmai shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from the Shem Havaya of the Rabbeinu Shalom, Shehika es Paro, who struck Paro. Continues the Ramah. The Ramah says, V'yia pas megula B'shah she'omer Haggadah. The matzah should be uncovered while you're saying the Haggadah until you get to Lefikach. She'oiches hakais b'yadai, at which point you're going to have to hold the kais. V'az yichas ha'pas, and at that point, Lefikach, when you pick up the kais, at that point you have to cover the matzah. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut nine vav, yeah, pas megula. The pas should be uncovered when you read the Haggadah. Because, like I explained earlier, the matzah is called lechem oini. L'she'oinin olav dvarim. Like the Chazal say, it's lechem she'oinin olav dvarim harbe. It's the lechem over which we recite many words. We read the Haggadah over the matzah. So we have to have the matzah exposed while we say the Haggadah. I cut nine zayin until we get to Lefikach, because at that point, then we're going to have to lift up the kais, shira al hayayin, because we're going to say Hallel and we're going to say the bracha of Gal Yisrael, and this constitutes shira. It's singing praise to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and we say shira al hayayin. Va'az yichasa pas is cut nine ches shalayire bashtai. We don't want the pas to see its embarrassment. Because, like I said, normally we give preference to the pas. Now we're giving preference to the yayin. We're holding the yayin over the pas. That's embarrassing to the pas. So we cover up the pas. K'di'isa siman reish ayin aleph siftes. I always make the point. If the Torah is instructing us that we must take such great care over the boishis, the shame of an inanimate object like pas, how much more so do we have to be careful not to chas v'chalila shame or otherwise hurt another yid who could feel shame. Okay. Now we go to Siman Taf Ayin Daled. Al kais sheni ein mevarchen ubay sif echad. We're going to start this Siman, and right away people are going to be surprised. We're going to see the shita of the Mechaber, the opinion of the Mechaber, that you do not make a Borei Pri Hagafen on the second kais or on the second kais. Let's see. Of course, most of us Ashkenazim anyway, like the Ramah says, we follow the minhag that we do make a bracha on each kais. But let's see what the Mechaber says. Shaisek kais sheni. We drink the second kais, so we say Lefikach, we say the first two paragraphs of Hallel, we make the bracha of Gal Yisrael, and then the Mechaber says Shaisek kais sheni. We immediately drink the second of the Dalet kaisais, the ein mevarech alav, and we do not make a bracha on it. Loi bracha rishayna. We don't recite a Borei Pri Hagafen, v'loi bracha achrayna, nor do we make a bracha achrayna on al hagefen. She'ein mevarchin Borei Pri Hagafen, because we do not make a bracha rishayna of Borei Pri Hagafen, ki im al kais shel kiddush, except on the first of the Dalet kaisais, the kais of kiddush, v'al kais shel birkas hamazon, and on the third kais, the kais of benching. This is the opinion of the Mechaber. The opinion of the Mechaber, we make a Borei Pri Hagafen by kiddush. That covers the first of the Dalet kaisais and the second of the Dalet kaisais. Then we make a Hagafen on the third kais after benching, and that covers the bracha rishayna for the third kais and the fourth kais. The ein mevarchen al hagefen, and we don't make a bracha achrayna of al hagefen, ki im akar kais revi, only after the last of the Dalet kaisais, and that covers the bracha achrayna for all four kaises. Let's see the Mishnah Berurah. Ice cut and aleph. So the Mechaber said, we do not make a bracha rishayna, loy bracha rishayna. We don't make a Borei Pri Hagafen, only on the first kais and the third kais. V'afal gav da'arba kaisai shetiknu rabbanan. Even though the Chazal were misakin 4 individual kaisais, and kol achas mitzvah b'fnei atzmahi, and each one is its own individual mitzvah. Mikamakim, nevertheless, keven deleka hesach hadas mishtia. Since you were never Mesiach Das, you never took your mind off of drinking. Shaharei kisheberach al kais rishon, because when you made Kiddush, and you made the Borei Pri Hagafen by Kiddush, you knew that there's a second kais coming. You knew that tonight by the Seder you're drinking Dalet kaisais. So when you made a Borei Pri Hagafen by Kiddush, you certainly knew that you're going to be drinking a second kais. So there was no Hesach Hadas. You never had your mind removed. You never forgot about drinking another kais of yayin. So the hagafen of the kiddush on the first kais should cover the second kais as well. So therefore, says the Chavetz Chaim, the rationale of the mechaber is, since you knew full and well that you're going to be drinking a second kais when you made the bracha of hagafen on the first kais, that bracha rishona should cover the second kais as well. Ice cotton bays, va'al kaishel birkas hamazon. You also make a bar pri hagafen on the third kais, the kais of birkas hamazon. Va'kais revi nifta b'bracha shel kais shlishi. And the fourth kais is covered by the bracha rishona on the third kais. But the kais shlishis, the third kais, does require a bracha rishona. Why? The second kais doesn't require a bracha rishona according to the mechaber, because you covered it with the bracha rishona on the first kais. But you cannot cover the third kais with the bracha rishona of the first kais. Why? Because between the hagafen on the first kais and the drinking of the third kais, you have birkas hamazon, you have benching. Benching is a siluk. Benching ends the Suda. So if you made a bar pri hagafen at the beginning of the Suda by Kiddush, and now you benched, benching closes out everything that came before it. So you cannot say that the bar pri hagafen of Kiddush on the first kais is going to cover the third kais or the fourth kais. So even the mechaber agrees that while the hagafen by Kiddush will cover the second kais, it cannot cover the third kais. So for the third kais, you have to make a new hagafen, but that hagafen will cover the fourth kais. So v'akais revi, the fourth kais, niftar b'bracha shel kais shlishi, is covered by the hagafen on the third kais. Now let's go to Ice Cotton Gimel. The Shulchan Aruch said that you make an hagafen only after the fourth kais. Kiyamacher kais revi. Now, the Chavetz Chaim points out that at first glance, this seems strange in light of what we just explained in reference to the brachis rishonos, to the hagefen, to the bar pri hagafen. Let's see what the Chavetz Chaim says. You only make an alagafen, you only make the bracha achrona after the fourth kais. V'af al gav shebirkas hamazon hu gemar v'siluk. Even though benching is an end to the Suda, it's a gemar, it's a completion of the Suda. The siluk and a removal, you remove yourself from the Suda. The chashiv can have sigamur, and it's considered a complete hefsek. Le'inyan bracha rishayna shal kai shlishi, in reference to the halacha of the bracha rishayna on the third kais, right? What did we say? We said the bar pri hagafen of Kiddush cannot cover the third kais because you have benching between the bar pri hagafen of Kiddush and the third kais. And benching closes out everything that came before it. So that bracha rishayna is gone. It's over. Now for the third kais, you need another bracha rishayna. So the Chavetz Chaim over here is wondering if that's true in regard to the halacha of bracha rishayna, maybe it should also be true in regard to the halacha of bracha achrona. Maybe we should say, how could you make one al hagefen at the end of the Seder, after the fourth kais, and cover the first two kaises with it? The first two kaises came before benching. Benching is a complete break. Benching closes out everything that came before it. The first two kaises came before benching. So how are we going to cover those kaises with the bracha achrona that we're going to make after benching? The Chavetz Chaim says, no, that logic is faulty. While that logic is true in regard to the halacha bracha rishayna, it has no bearing on the bracha achrona. She'ein hesek hadas mechayiv levarich tekef bracha achrona, because a hesek hadas, the fact that you removed yourself from the suda with benching. So you're right. You made a bar pri hagafen by Kiddush. Based on that bar pri hagafen, on that bracha rishayna, according to the sheet of the mechaber, based on that bracha, you were able to drink the first kais and the second kais. Then you went out and you benched. So now you removed yourself from that suda. You want to drink more wine, you want to drink a third kais, you got to make a new bracha rishayna. You got to make a new bar pri hagafen. But that doesn't require you to drop everything and immediately make a bracha acharona on what came before benching. You're right that you can't drink more wine based on a bracha rishona that came before benching. But that doesn't mean that you must immediately make a bracha acharona on whatever came before benching. Fine. So the first two cases came before benching, and you're obligated to make a bracha acharona. But you don't have to drop everything now that you benched and make that bracha acharona now. You could wait. You could wait until you complete the drinking of the third kais and the fourth kais. And then you'll make one alagofet and you'll patter up the bracha acharona on all four kaisos. Okay, so that covers the shita of the Shulchan Aruch. So here we have the shita of the Mechaber. Again, you do not make a bar pri hagafen on the second kais or on the fourth kais. The second kais is covered by the bar pri hagafen of Kiddush that you made on the first kais, and the fourth kais is covered by the bar pri hagafen that you make on the third kais. But the Ramah disagrees. Says the Ramah, Haga v'aminig bein Ashkenazim. The minig of the Ashkenazim is levarich bracha rishayna al kais v'kais, to make a new bar pri hagafen on each one of the daled kaisais. Ava bracha acharona ein mevarkin rak ha'achron levad. However, when it comes to the bracha acharona, he agrees with the Mechaber that we make only one alagafen. We make one bracha acharona on all four kaisais after the fourth kais. The Chain das Roiv HaGa'onim, and Roiv of the Ga'onim agree with this approach. Says the Mishnah Berurah dalal al kol kais. We make a new bar pri hagafen on each one of the daled kaisais. The Mishahiskel b'Haggadah also lishtais. The Chavetz Chaim says the reasoning of the Ramah is, what do you want to say, Mechaber? You want to say that the bar pri hagafen of Kiddush is going to be the bracha rishayna on the second kais? Can't be. You have a hefsek between the first kais and the second kais. What's the hefsek? You're going to read the Haggadah. We saw this already previously. Once you start reading the Haggadah, lechatchila, you're not supposed to interrupt with drinking anything. So, since you're not supposed to drink between the first kais and the second kais, it follows that if you break that minig and you do drink, that was an unexpected drinking. You would have to make another bracha to drink then. So how could you tell me that the bar pri hagafen of Kiddush covers the second kais? You have a hesek hadas from drinking because you're not supposed to drink while you're reciting the Haggadah. The mehishiskel b'Haggadah also lishtais. Well, you have a hefsek latzruchi bracha b'kais sheni. So now you have a hefsek and you need a new bracha for the kais sheni. And even if you'll argue that is not really a hefsek, nevertheless, since each one of the dal kaisais is its own individual mitzvah, yesh levarich al kol kais bracha b'fnei atzma. The takana of the four mitzvahs of the four individual kaisais comes together with it that each one of those kaisais gets its own bracha. It has the chashivas of its own bracha. But when it comes to the din of the bracha achrona, over there the Ramah concurs with the opinion of the Mechaber. There we do indeed make only one alagafen after the fourth kais, and it covers all four kaisais, and we don't worry about the fact that there was a hesek hadas between the first kais and the second kais, between the second kais and the third kais. It doesn't matter. That hesek hadas didn't require that you immediately make a bracha achrona on the previous kaisais. You could cover all four kaisais with one alagafen at the end. Okay, even though I've been trying to push a little bit more to do a little bit extra each day. Today was a complex share. Tomorrow is also a complex share. So I'm going to stop over here. B'ez Hashem, tomorrow we'll pick up with Siman Taf Ayin Hey. The schus of Liman HaTorah should stand God's Klal Yisrael in good stead. Thank you so much for joining me for this Torah learning. Rabbi Shalom should send Yeshuas and Refuas to those who need it, Parnasa to those who need it. Rabbi Shalom should send the Geula Shlema, not only the end of this tzara, but Rabbi Shalom should send the end to all tzaras. We should have the Geula Shlema. We should be zeichet to be Oila Regel for Shvuas in B'ez Hashem. Be well.